Hey guys, welcome to the Sandro Linux Community Podcast. It is the 10th of May. So we have Pigus here today. Hello, Pigus.
Hello, hello.
And today we are discussing a few stories. So, the first story we will be discussing is the one in the title. So, Microsoft is apparently launching a Xbox mobile gaming app store. So that will be coming in July. And as well as discussing that story, we will also be discussing a game release and a couple other stories. So, starting off now with the main story here. So, Microsoft is apparently launching this new Xbox mobile store. So, Xbox, of course, they do have their the Microsoft Store on Xbox, and overall, we've not really seen a Xbox Store before. It's usually just a Microsoft Store, and in fact, they sort of moved away from the Xbox Store branding with the change to the Microsoft Store. But now with their mobile offering, they are now apparently going for the Xbox name here to clearly signify the focus on gaming. So they have already secured Candy Crush and modern, I think it's Call of Duty mobile. Yeah, both of those games will be on the Microsoft Xbox mobile store. And as well as that, of course, you will have all of the Microsoft mobile games, such as Minecraft. So, as well as the obvious ones, there are also some of these third party developer games. And of course, we'll have to wait and see how many developers actually sign up to this platform. I mean, Microsoft's previous lack of success in the mobile space isn't really too promising for this platform. So, of course, there was Windows Mobile. That was a moderate success in the mobile space. Then they tried to revive Windows Mobile after the iPhone and Android was released with Windows Phone. And of course, Windows Phone, not exactly Microsoft's greatest hour. Of course, some people were big fans of a Windows Phone, but overall, it did not capture the market share that Microsoft may have expected, and it was overall just outcompeted by Android and iOS. And of course, at a similar time, they were trying to get people to switch over to Windows 8, which was also not much of a success. So perhaps on the perhaps with a slightly more popular operating system on the desktop side, maybe Microsoft can convince people that they, that they can do something on the mobile side. But with the recent sort of failures, which were the Duo and the Neo mobile devices, with, of course, the Duo not really seeing much success outside of very specific use cases, and the Neo not actually even seeing the light of day. Yeah, so perhaps Microsoft can recover their mobile reputation here, but I am currently a bit of a skeptic. Yes. Do you have any thoughts, please?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll move on.
Um,
If you have any thoughts, then say them, please.
it's interesting that they've chosen to use like it's a web-based store this time.
Yeah, I should have actually mentioned that because that's in the notes, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
of course, being a web-based store, it is perhaps not. Perhaps it might not see the same success that a app-based store would have. Of course, you don't have to download the store, so perhaps that is a bit of an advantage. However, of course, you
Yeah.
have to download each app individually, and with the nuisance that is manually updating apps, APK files, then yeah, perhaps this won't be too successful. Sorry about the notification noise in the background. Everybody on stream. Um, yeah, so of course with the yeah, so we'll have to see how the web-based approach goes. Of course, they apparently do want to introduce a a software store, so an actual store which will actually be a proper app instead of this web-based store. So yeah, we'll have to see when that comes, if it comes, and how much of a success this Xbox store is. Because,
Mhm.
yeah, I can't see this being too successful unless they, perhaps if they remove their Xbox apps from the main Google Play Store and Apple App Store, perhaps this could be a success. However, of course, with the App Store, they will have to be careful because it is only in the EU that you can release the App Store, release third-party app stores. So they would have to somehow exclude it from the EU App Store, but also keep it on international app stores. So that would be quite difficult. But yeah, we'll have to see where they go with that. Any thoughts, Piggis? Any more? Any more?
Anything to avoid Apple's strict rules.
Yeah, except you still got those fairly strict rules on the Apple side. Yeah, better than it was. Better than it was.
Mm.
Even if they're potentially just trying to circumvent regulation there. But that's a story. That's a story for another time, not for a story about Microsoft. Okay. Now let's move on, because yeah, we could talk about that for quite a while. But let's move on to a AI story. So we previously discussed in a previous show OpenAI potentially launching a Google competitor, and now that does appear to be on the horizon. At least that is according to Reuters. So, OpenAI could be launching a Google search alternative if this Reuters report is to be believed. And yeah, we're not exactly sure how they will index uh, all of the different web pages on the web. So they do say they're partly powered by Bing. So that is one thing. But previously, OpenAI pretty much totally relied on Bing for ChatGPT and their other AI products. So if you got any information from the web, it was all from Bing, and that's for web searches and stuff like that. But yeah, now apparently they're trying to make their own search engine. So we'll have to see where that goes. And Microsoft
Yay.
and OpenAI just seem to potentially not be the best of partners anymore. I mean, there's been a bit of sort of friction with potentially Microsoft trying to invest in other AI companies and OpenAI potentially launching this alternative to Bing, and Bing maybe not being the AI success that some people may have, Microsoft may have initially expected. Yeah.
Right.
Now, I'm moving on to the next story here. So, in the gaming section, we have one release this week. So, Men of War 2 has been announced for May the 15th. So this is a World War 2 RTS, so real-time strategy game. And for those unaware, the Men of War franchise has been going since about 2004 now. So it's quite a long-running franchise. And now there is this new installment. So it promises better graphics, it promises more realism, and potentially this could be, the best of the series yet. Who knows? Perhaps they'll improve, or perhaps there'll be lots of bugs. We don't know yet. We'll have to see when it is released on the 15th. Yes. How are you
But
feeling about
yes.
this game? It is Windows only, Piggus, so that is one thing to think about.
It's not really my cup of tea.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's not everybody's thing, real-time strategy. But for those who are into it, this will be a good release to check out. Also, it's a specific genre of real-time strategy. But it's cool if you're into those kind of games. Anyway, let's move on to a story about Google Wallet in India. So, unlike most of the world, India has kept the old Google Pay application. And now apparently Google Wallet has been released in India, so you can now use it for almost everything except from payments. So apparently you will still use Google Pay for that in India. So I guess this will be quite a pain for the people, for people in India, because now you'll have to have two applications instead of one. But that is a sacrifice I suppose you'll have to make if you want to use this Google payment application. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a unique situation in India, I suppose, for Google Pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just hoping one day there'll be a good open source, like, privacy-friendly, mobile NFC payment app. I'll hold my breath, and probably for the next 20 years or something, but who knows? Anyway, let's move on to the next story. So, Google is apparently, practically, according to 9 to 5 Google here, giving away Pixel tablets for free with iPad trade-ins. And that's just not true. You trade in your device, it is valued, and then you get your new Pixel tablet. So that's a misleading headline. That is just misleading in general. But of course, it's a somewhat good deal depending on who you are. If you have a recent iPad Pro, I would refrain from taking this deal up, because you could be losing out on quite a bit of the market value. And if you have in contrast, if you have a iPad Air, 3rd gen, then you could probably trade in your device and get quite a nice deal on this Pixel tablet. So if you trade in your iPad 3rd generation, in fact, this article is incorrect. It is not the 2nd generation that you can trade in, it is the 3rd. So owners of the 2nd generation iPad Air are out of luck. But for those with the 3rd generation iPad Air or any of the other devices listed, you could get a $399 trade-in value, which effectively means that you can get a free, sort of free, you pay using the tablet, I suppose, Pixel Tab. So, yeah, if you want a Pixel tablet, then perhaps this is a good trade-in option. Yeah. It's only in the US though, and I think this deal will no longer be a thing after the 20th of May. So you gotta be quick there. 10 days. 10 days to do it. In fact, more like 9 at this point. So I would be heading on over to the Google store fast if you think this is a good deal for you. Now, unless you have any thoughts on that, Piggis, yeah, we'll continue on.
Like, why?
Why? In what sense?
Yeah. Why are they doing this?
Because it's because the Pixel Tab probably hasn't had the success that Google were hoping for, so perhaps that's the reason. Yeah. So perhaps it's just a sort of, them just trying to shift units, but yeah. It's a good deal if you want this specific tablet. Now, but please do check the market value on like eBay and on other websites before you do sell your tablet to Google, because you could get a better value otherwise. Now, moving on to the iPad news. So there's some good news for the iPad fans out there. So Google have launched new iPad Pros and iPad Airs. So now there will be a slightly bigger iPad Pro, I think. So now you will get a 0.1 inch increase on the larger variant, and for iPad, for either iPad, you will now get the M4 chip, which has some quite big improvements according to Apple. We'll have to wait and see how that is benchmarked by actual reviewers, unbiased reviewers, because of course Apple may overstate the performance gains, and yeah, it's maybe slightly better than what some people were expecting from the M4. There was a lot of sort of pessimism in the tech community about the M4, so perhaps this will be a little bit of an improvement, yes. So another refresh to the iPad line for those Apple consumers. Okay, so, and we're going on to another AI story here, and it's bad news for programmers, really, and it's, I would say, actually problematic. So we are moving on to a story about Stack Overflow. So, Stack Overflow is apparently feeding programmers answers to AI without them actually asking for consent first. So, now you can no longer delete your Stack Overflow posts, and you can now you can now apparently just not be able to, you can't delete your posts. So if you accidentally doxed yourself, if you leaked some company's internal source code, for example, which you don't actually want, which are like trade secrets, then you could be in a lot of trouble here. And there's so many cases where you just want to delete a post. Perhaps you made a mistake, you just want to be able to delete that. Well, now you'll probably have to manually appeal to Stack Overflow to get your post actually deleted, which will be quite a difficult process. And I'm not exactly sure how you would go about that. Anyway, do you have any thoughts on that, Pickers?
Not nice, not nice.
Yeah, I mean, GitHub did a similar thing, didn't they?
Mm.
So perhaps it's not unprecedented, but it is still annoying. And
But they never stopped you from deleting repos.
yeah, that is a good point actually, because yeah.
But I want because Stack Overflow is bigger than just the Stack Overflow website. Does this affect the other brands they have?
I am not sure. I do not think it does, at least on the deleting posts point of view. But yeah, we'll have to see with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bad consumer and the user and almost everybody except for themselves to sign a deal like this with OpenAI. And yeah, overall it's just a bad move. Maybe you don't want to use Stack Overflow if you can't delete your posts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Google's DeepMind, apparently their DeepMind division are now promising that their new AI model can model DNA, RNA, and all of life's molecules. So this is a pretty bold claim from Google. Them saying that they have actually improved the model by quite a significant extent. The figure which I've got in my notes here is 50%. So that is quite a substantial improvement. We'll have to see how that what that's like in the real world. And whether this is a big improvement for drug development and medical science, I suppose. Science in general, maybe. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this, Piggis? I mean, hopefully they make it available to more people. They do appear to be very cautious with this. They did say that they are worried that it could get into the wrong hands, which is a typical Google thing to say. And of course, there's that debate around OpenAI versus closed AI. Of course, allowing people to use AI systems does mean, of course, that they could do harmful stuff with it. However, of course, even if a company like Google has hold of this this AI technology, they could do something bad with it. So overall, I think, either way, some harm could definitely be done. And I think it is probably a corporate move to try to stop other to try and stop OpenAI. Not OpenAI as a company. I mean, open source AI models, and yeah, of course, companies could profit greatly from being able to monopolize the AI space, but I don't think that would
Mm.
be healthy for AI or for the economy. I would say if, AI starts replacing jobs, we can't have big corporations reaping all of the benefits from AI. People have got to get some of those benefits. Yeah, uh, I suppose. Any thoughts, Piggis?
Don't be
But yeah, so I think that's it for today. Unless you want to discuss anything, Piggis, any interesting stories that you want to discuss? I mean, yeah, Eurovision tomorrow.
yeah. Eurovision tomorrow. I was gonna say that.
Who are you predicting's gonna win? Do you reckon
Um,
Sweden could clench another victory?
I mean, it's good, but uh,
I'll be honest. I
I
think
don't think they will win now.
okay, okay. I think the UK entry. We we're not
Oh,
gonna we're not gonna win, but you know.
I haven't seen it yet, so
Oh
what
yeah,
was it?
Ollie Alexander or somebody like that. I forget his exact name. Um, but yeah. It's interesting to see Ireland qualify this year in Eurovision stuff. Anyway, let's continue uh on to the conclusion of today's show. I don't know why I said continue on. I guess
Mhm.
that's just what I do. Now, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. I hope you did enjoy. You can check out the GitHub repo with the notes after the show. And thank you once again. Goodbye.